Good morning, everyone. It's Beth Kozik from Elegant Greetings. It's Saturday morning and time for our catalog copycat cards. I hope your morning is going well so far. It's going to be a really beautiful weekend here in Michigan. So let's start out by giving away the card that I created last week. This was created with the Dress to Impress stamp set. So we simply stamped the perfume bottle a few times, and then we stamped with the Magenta Madness, I think it was, the color that we used, the bright pink, and just stamped 3 times over the perfume bottles, and then created this real cute tag that is part of the matching die set. Added some white embossing and a little bit of a tag on top of the tag, and some sequins and a little bit of a twine bow. So that's our card that we created. I'd like to thank everybody for commenting on Facebook and also on YouTube. I really appreciate all of your comments, so please keep them coming. So let's go ahead and select this week's winner. Okay, and our winner this time is Barb. So Barb, I will put this card in the mail to you on Monday. I hope you enjoy it. Okay, ladies, so we are still in our annual catalog, and we are in the final weeks of this beautiful catalog. I'll be sad to see it go. So I'm going to again feature a really nice die and stamp coordinating set. We are on page 77, and I'm going to show you this card right here. This little white card intrigued me, and it's made with a little lace stamp set, and it has a really pretty stitched lace die coordinating die set. Okay, so I'm going to keep my catalog handy here so I can follow along. And here is what the stamp set looks like. It is red rubber set, so all of the images are cling mount, and the coordinating dies are really unique. This is one of my favorite dies, I think, of all time. It is a solid die, so it can cut a very large piece of cardstock into this beautiful lacy die pattern. Let me show you another card that I created with it so you can kind of get an idea. This was one I did maybe a year or so ago, and it creates this beautiful lace. Isn't that gorgeous? I'm a really big fan of this, and I hope that it doesn't retire. But we never know, right? Our retiring list will be coming out next week, which is on March 24th. So we will learn then which items from this current annual catalog are going to be retiring. So the die set comes with the one large die, and it also has this die, which is an edge die. And I'm going to show you how this works, but it's intended to cut an edge. Can you see how that fits right up to that second die? And it enables us to cut that lace edge exactly. So it's really a cool way to be able to die cut. And I'm going to show you how to use this. Okay, so let's go through all of the pieces and parts that we need to make this card. We are going to need our inks, our mint macaron and rich raspberry. And then we need an embossing folder. The one that is used in the catalog that I happen to have is pine wood planks, and this is one of our 3D folders. So it gives a really nice deep impression, and it's a really kind of a cool interest that it adds to this card. So we're going to use that die, or that embossing folder. I have a piece of our thick basic white cardstock, and that's cut to 8 inches by 4 inches and then scored at 4 inches. And then I have a piece of our basic white, which is 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. Another piece of white, which is 3 by 3. And then I have a piece of our mint macaron. This is such a pretty color. I really should use it more because I do love it. It's kind of like creme de menthe. It reminds me of that kind of a look. It's just a really beautiful soft green, which is perfect for springtime. So this piece is about 4 inches by about 2.5 inches. And then we have our dimensionals. We have, I picked the rich raspberry color, and you'll also want to have a matching blends marker. So this is my rich raspberry marker. We need a scrap of white where we're going to stamp and cut out, which I've already done, 2 of these little hearts, which are part of the stamp set. They're right here on the stamp set. So now there is another die set, which is the hearts. I don't happen to have that, so when we don't have a die set, we can simply fussy cut. So those are the 2 hearts that we need. We also need a couple of pieces that are 3/8 inch, so that's going to be for our sentiment. And our adhesive, our seal adhesive. And then I have our sentiment on my block. I have this really pretty die, or excuse me, this stamp, which we're going to use on the card. Isn't that gorgeous? I love that one. And then, of course, this is the little heart that I used. Okay, a lot of the die cutting I did in advance, so I'm just going to kind of show you the progression of what would need to be done with the dies as we go. Okay, so I think that I will start by stamping our sentiment. So let's get that out of the way here. And I'm going to use our rich raspberry ink. And our sentiment is really, really skinny and tiny. It says just a little note to say hello. And we are going to snip off part of that, because if I follow exactly what is done in the catalog, only the words just a little note are used. So I'm going to stamp that right here on this, whoops, got a little mark in there, on that little teeny weeny sliver of paper. I'm going to try to get that nice and straight. We never want to rock our stamps, especially a little one like this, because we can easily end up with a halo. Okay, that looks pretty good, so I'm going to let that dry for a moment. Clean off my stamp. I've got my Stampin' Chamois here off to the side. I like to clean my stamps as I go. And then I will close up my ink. And then next, I think since I already have my hearts ready, we need to have one be just as it is, and then the other we need to color in the center with the blends marker. So I am going to do that on the one. I already have a dimensional on the back of this one, so I'm just going to color in carefully the center part of this little heart. Now, blends markers are alcohol based. They distribute a really nice even amount of ink, and the ink, when it comes out, it kind of spreads a little bit, so I'm being really careful here to create my outline first, and then I'm going to go ahead and just kind of use a flicking motion to fill that all in. And the thing about blends is that they do bleed through to the other side of our cardstock. Okay, so you always want to have a scrap paper under. All right, so those are ready to go. I'll set those aside. And I think our sentiment is probably dry, so I'm going to snip off the part that we don't need. We just want this to say just a little note. So nice and easy. Just going to take my scissors, and that part is finished. Okay, now for the fun part. So this took a little bit of planning and a lot of patience, but I promise you it is well worth the effort. Okay, so what we want to do first of all is on our 3 1/4 inch piece of Whisper White cardstock, I ran that through the embossing folder, so it now looks like this. Isn't that cool? That wood grain plank look about it. And with our folders, we can use whichever side we want. One side is going to be raised, the other is going to be not raised. So whichever way we prefer it looks is the way that we can put that onto our project. Okay, so that part is ready. So I'm going to set that aside. And then on our piece of 3 by 3 white, that needed to be die cut. Okay, so what I did is I took the straight edge die, this one here, and I ran that through my die cutting machine by placing it right onto the edge of the cardstock. okay? So that cut that beautiful edge for me. So that piece is ready to go. All right, and then next we have the Mint Macaron cardstock, okay? So we started out with our piece of cardstock, and I placed that right onto our die. Okay, and I know that I need 3 of these circular patterns on my card. So I'm going to layer my cardstock over that area of the die, okay? And I ran that through, and what that created is this. So now I have this really nice piece of die cut paper, and what we need to do to remove all of these little pieces, because it is so intricate, I did run it through the Big Shot or through the die cutting machine twice, and I also used a piece of wax paper between my die and my cardstock, and that just helps to have all of these little pieces released. And what I'm using is my Take Your Pick tool, and I have the brush attachment added onto it. And what this does, kind of makes a little bit of a mess, but by rubbing this over all the die cuts, you can see how the pattern is emerging. And that helps to release all of those little pieces from our cardstock. Okay, so that was step number 1. And then the next step is I took this piece of my cardstock that's die cut, and then I'm going to cut it again, run it through my machine once again by placing this edge die right along the edge like that. Okay, so hopefully that's obvious what's happening here. So I'll run that through, and then this is the result. So I have this beautiful edge that's cut out on one side. All right, and then the next step is I'm going to take that edge die again and cut on this side. So I'm doing the same thing on the other side. So I'm going to end up with just this beautiful strip of lace. Okay, and here's what that looks like. Isn't that gorgeous? So that's what we're going to use on the edge of our white piece of paper. Alrighty, so I think we're ready to assemble. So let me get all of my pieces here ready to go. So first of all, I think we will attach onto our base. Oh, there's one thing that I forgot, and that is I have to add a little bit of stamping with this really pretty stamp that I showed you earlier. We're going to place that horizontally along this piece of white cardstock. Okay, so this will be done in our Mint Macaron. And then I know that my die cut is going to be placed right at the bottom of the card like this. So I'm just going to lay it there, hold it in place, and then this stamp is going to fit right over. Let's see if I got this lined up here right. Oh, I have it upside down. That's why. Okay, so that fits right over the edge of that die cut. There we go. Isn't that pretty? Oh, I love that. All right, so let's seal up our ink here. All right, so now that's ready to go. I'm going to give that just a second to dry. So we'll bring back our card base, and we're going to add on our embossed piece. So let's use our Stamp and Seal on that. Just putting that all around the edges. When I emboss a piece, I like to add a lot of adhesive so that all of those edges will lay nice and flat. And that goes right here in the middle. This is a really pretty monochromatic card. White on white. I would never think to do a white on white card, but wow, is that pretty. And then our next step will be to apply this lace piece to our die cut white piece. So I think the easiest way to do this will be with my green glue, which is our green, we call it green glue, it's not green, it's white. But this way I can place little dots of the glue all the way around here, and these won't show through like our seal adhesive would. Okay, that looks good. Oh, shoot. Shoot, shoot, shoot. All right, Kleenex time. I think that will remove all this adhesive. That wasn't very good. Stuff happens though, right? I think if we get it off here nice and quick, it will be okay. There. All right, let's try this again here. So, and I'm going to pull my craft sheet under here because there's a little bit of extra adhesive here. I don't want that to be on my work surface, on my paper. So that's going to fit right over like that. Look how pretty that is. All right, and then I'm just going to take my scissors, turn this over, and snip off the extra. Okay, and then next we need to add on the hearts. So the darker heart, I'm going to add a dimensional. Where did my dimensionals go? Here they are. I'm going to add that right on and place that in the center. It looks like it's about right here. And then that other little heart will go up in this area, also on a dimensional. And then our sentiment, which is way over here, so that's going to be added over the heart. That's going to go right about here. Actually, this looks like it needs to be trimmed down just a little. So tiny. Just taking my scissors and trimming here. All right. Now it's even tinier. Look at that. And then that, I think that way more of that heart will show. I think maybe just a tiny bit of our green glue is going to do the trick for this, like that. Okay, and this sure is a little teeny tiny note card. All right, give that just a second to dry. All right, and then this is going to be attached onto the card with more dimensionals. So I've got these minis here, I'll just use those. And a couple more. All right. I like to place them in the middle too, so that's always a good tip because we don't want the center part of our embellishment to kind of sag in the middle, so it's good to add a few dimensionals into the middle. Okay, and then that gets placed, I think it's going to be, I'm going to put it up just a little higher like this. There we go. And then our final step is to use our bone folder and smooth down where we had scored. And I always like to do that on the back just in case, so I don't mess anything up on the front of my project. Okay, I think we are finished. Let me bring in the catalog. Here we go. Alrighty, so there's the catalog version. And here's my version. Wow, that turned out so cute. I am a big fan of this set. So again, we use the little lace stamp set and the coordinating dies, and my other die is missing. Here it is. Okay, so here are the 2 dies that go along with the set. So these are available for purchase now. If I can help anybody with an order, please let me know. So, and again, do comment on Facebook or on YouTube. Thumbs up are great. If you could share my videos as well, that would be awesome. I would certainly appreciate some additional followers. So that's all for today. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.